you, baby. I will say what you want to say. Think about you night and day. When you tell me you don't mean you, I took the punching out your bathroom again. Felt like losing a friend. Then I want you anymore. So take the money and run to your man. We're giving a fuck.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to stop my share screen just for a minute so we can connect together. I would like to kind of outline the plan for this evening and welcome everybody, both candidates and voters, for being here tonight. We are all being pulled in a lot of directions today, especially this week, especially. We reflected on the pertinence and the timeliness of continuing to meet tonight or trying to delay. And as the fires developed today and our evacuation zone was lifted, we decided to meet. So thank you for being here. We are recording tonight's discussion so that we can post it and share it with others who couldn't join us tonight. So we'll be making that available via our website. You can help spread the word to other RA members who might not have been able to join tonight. But let me just pause for a moment to say that in these unprecedented times that Los Angeles is enduring, grieving, and experiencing collective trauma through, residents associations, neighbors, groups like ours are going to be more important than ever. And this community and community strong that we build here at PLBRA can and will make the difference for all of our neighbors in the immediate and long-term futures. At the end of tonight's meeting, I will be sharing a vital resource by the California Office of Emergency Preparedness and FEMA, inviting all of you to share the link that I will put in the chat with any and everybody you know that has been impacted by the fire, whether they are evacuated and they do not know yet if they have lost their home, or if they do know that they have lost their home. We want to spread the word that they must file on this link that I will give you. I'll repeat this at the end of the meeting, and that will open up a bevy of county, state, and federal resources to support those in need. So I'll be putting that in the chat at the end since it's not necessarily related to what we're going to do over the next few minutes. But let me frame tonight for everybody. We have 12 board candidates. Prior to this week's catastrophe, and because of this week's catastrophe, we do have some candidates who cannot attend tonight. And so they have asked me to read their statements on their behalf. So I will be doing that for those candidates that could not attend. However, we have many candidates here on the call. Thank you so much. When I project your slide, please do share what you would like to say. You do not have to read your slide specifically, right? You can add or say other things, but we would like to keep everybody, to maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just so we can move it along. Tonight is not a debate. That's not the format that we run, right? This is an open opportunity for every single candidate to get to speak and have equal time and equal opportunity to ask for your vote, right? So that's why we're here. I would also share that Sunday is election day. Sunday is election day, and we have to meet our quorum either by in-person or proxy. Now, of course, if something really changes, right, that we cannot anticipate, where we have to pivot, we will pivot. Safety comes first, but we are planning to meet Sunday. We are hoping Katie or a delegate from Katie's office will still be able to attend. We understand that the situation on the ground is changing daily. So we are moving forward with that plan. We will also be making an annual report. And also, we will have our election. And Bruce Altschuler, our non-Park La Brea resident inspector of elections, will be there to share the election rules and guidelines, help me supervise the locked ballot boxes, and make sure that we administer a fair and appropriate election on Sunday. So with that, I'm going to share my slides again. Thank you, everybody, so much. And we will go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned, as of now, we are meeting at 2 p.m. at the Park La Brea Theater for our election. I will be checking you in and confirming that you are a registered voter, so to speak. You had to be on the roster right by December 13th. So I'll be checking in, and then we'll have a panel of people to help pass out your ballot or collect the proxies that you bring and turn in. And those proxies should be in a sealed envelope so that we can staple them to the ballot as they are officially opened. Our candidates are here. There are 12 of us. This is the order we're going to go in. So if you are a candidate and you would like to get ready, this is your order. And I will open for Holly. I will not share more, but she could not be here tonight because of events unfolding this week. And so she is safe tonight, but we are thinking of her and her family. And so I would just like to share on Holly's behalf. She says, "Hi, I'm Holly Alsop. I've lived in Park La Brea for over 4 years, and I would like to participate on the board to help all of us enjoy a peaceful, thriving community. I'm a seasoned grant professional based in Los Angeles, California. I have experience in funding strategies and grant writing for nonprofit and for-profit organizations, and I hold certifications in grant writing and an associate's degree in psychology. My areas of expertise include minority-owned organizations and those that benefit the whole human being. With my broad range of skills, I've been successful in securing funding for a variety of organizations that strive to improve both the mental and social health of their communities. In addition, I'm also a talented Americana singer and songwriter, having performed since 1984. I'm a devoted mental health advocate and am committed to positively impacting the world. This commitment begins at home in Park La Brea and extends to my spiritual life as well. I'm a mindfulness practitioner, and I've been a member of the Agape International Choir since 2007. I feel that I would be an asset to our board. She is currently a board member, I just want to note. And thank you for this opportunity to serve my neighbors. So thank you, Holly, for sharing that in your absence. And with that, I will turn it over to Shelley.
Hi, everyone. I have another phone open just in case my connection has been intermittent and doesn't work. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Shelley Buffone. I moved to Park La Brea in 2018, and I started serving on the board in 2020. Later that summer, I became the treasurer. We needed one, so I stepped up to do it. I was lucky to have my fellow candidate and friend, Colonel Harris, to help me and guide me in that role, as he did the next two treasurers. And then when the world opened back up again and I went back to work full time, I let that go and let somebody else step up and serve in that role. And I became the amenities chair. So you may have heard me talk about the pool and the gym with my partner in crime, Toby. We oversee a lot of the amenities here that you enjoy, primarily the pool and the gym. And I'm proud of the work that we've done. We still have a lot more work to do, and I'm hoping that you vote for me so we can continue that work. I also am really looking forward to participating in the beautification of Park La Brea. So things like renovating your apartment, what upgrades can we do? As chargers become something that's available to electric cars here. Anything and everything that will make life more enjoyable, bring joy into your life. I love to help my fellow residents, and that's what I'm here to do. And for all the new people, welcome. We need your help. So thanks for volunteering and running. And I hope you all get elected and look forward to serving with you in 2025. Thank you.
Shelley, thank you so much. Um, I'm next, and I will share with you, I am not my best self tonight. I am a school district superintendent, and I'm managing impacts of the fire, impacting my employees and my students losing their homes. So, apologies if I am a little bit disjointed tonight with my statement. But I have been in Park La Brea since 2020. I moved in the middle of COVID, where we were not provided any information or onboarding or services or support of any kind. And I hear all of these beautiful community components that we had before, and I know Toby's going to speak about them too, that have never come back. I believe that community advocacy and community organizing is the key, not only to making ourselves safe and having fair treatment from our landlords as tenants, but also to improve our quality of life. And so I've worked over the last few years on the board to host the wellness fair, the nonpartisan elections fairs that we've had. And I've been supporting the board in the role of secretary, which really is the behind the scenes organizer and calendar invite sender, and those types of things that you get from the board. During the day, I am a school district superintendent, and I'm also getting my doctorate currently. So I try to be as responsive and timely as I can, and I apologize deeply if this week or over the next 2 weeks, you reach out to me and I'm slower than usual to reply, as I'm managing, so many tugs right now, but I have coverage from my team to be released Sunday to give you guys my undivided attention to help run the election and make sure that that goes smoothly. So I would love your vote. I hope that you help us move forward and make Park La Brea a stronger community together. And I would encourage us to think about how can we do that together and who best helps serve us as we move forward together. Thank you so much. And with that, I will turn it over to Angela.
Thank you, Nicole. And I want to give you lots of props for managing us through this while you're dealing with so many other scary issues. So it's really appreciated. So hi, y'all. I'm Angela. I would actually say my whole reason for being in life is to make an impact, and secondarily to hang out with people I love. So as long as I'm doing those two things, I feel pretty good. I was elected to the board in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic. And given that I've spent my career in tech, and that includes growing a specialty where I help nonprofits be effective in the digital age, I consult with them. I've actually worked pretty hard to bring PLBRA in line with 21st century standards, bring us into the digital age so we can work effectively. And that includes polishing up our website, making it more flexible. I've tripled our email list. We now have about 800 people on the list, which is pretty amazing, but the goal is 1,200. I've been experimenting with digital advertising to help us raise more money, and I've converted all of our fundraising and member acquisition as well as our banking to purely digital tools, so we don't have to mess too much with paper anymore. I also set up Google Drive as our common communications platform, so we now have a file cabinet in the sky, so we don't have to keep a lot of paper laying around, which is really great. I'm a huge believer in community, and I actually think that we really need to kind of refocus PLBRA on building this, because I think it's actually the only way that we can drive our membership numbers up. And frankly, until we have a significant number of community supporters, we're not going to be effective in advocating with management. As long as we're a tiny community, they don't really have to listen to what we have to say. So by being able to actually create events like some of the things Nicole has done, as well as other things where we could bring our community together and evangelize PLBRA, I think that's how we can get that done. And if you read my statement you'll see that this is actually an old version. The new version is online. You'll see that I'm a big advocate for taking the giant new space that we've been given and actually turning it into an activity center to replace the one that we lost when they expanded the expensive gym into our old activity center space. So you can read about that. So in my day job, I focus on powering political and nonprofit organizations. And then I also consult with mission-driven tech companies still. Can't seem to get out of that tech space. And then I'm also a foodie and a former restaurant owner. And I really, really like to invite people over for dinner. So maybe you'll get an invite. Henry can raise his hand and tell you that he was over a few days ago at New Year's snacking on black-eyed peas and collard greens because I am a Southern girl. So there you have it. So I'm done. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Angela. Donald, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Nicole?
Yes, sir. Fire away.
My few moments are going to be a little different. I was going to talk about increasing membership, reopening the PLBRA office, and new programs. But after I read through what was said in the material that was released, Bob devoted more than half of his column, and well written too, to something that happened 5 years ago. So I think everybody should hear the full version of what happened. There were 4 of us in the room, and a woman was called ignorant by me who had a high school education. And in the world of today, where you alone are working on a doctorate, there are those of us who already have them or professional degrees. Ignorance simply means unschooled. And the woman's suggestions were so bad that she got a cease and desist order and a censure during her 1 year on the board and nearly crashed through 2 doors getting out of her room. She left under a huff. And the other thing about my not being willing in over 20 years of service to giving somebody information is information that the state corporate code doesn't require us to give. The person didn't just want the names and addresses of our members, but also our email addresses and phone numbers. And for those of you who have a legal training, that would discourage people from coming forward and sharing that information. Because if I share it with a member, who knows who might share it with somebody else? Our bylaws simply say name and address for a purpose related to PLBRA. Well, I declined, but I did tell the lady she had the right to go to court. She did not do so. That was 5 years ago. Since then, she also left the board under a huff because of a disagreement of our position on a high-rise apartment building on Cochrane and Wilshire, which hasn't as yet been built. If I have a moment, I would stress that in over 20 years of service, I helped write the bylaws you have today with a man, an attorney, Georgetown graduate who's now deceased. I took care of incorporating us. That was done for economic reasons. Some people were very wealthy, wanted to limit their liability. I took care of our name change in '98 from PLBRA tenants to PLBRA residents. In essence, every legal matter that was done, I did. I also automated our accounting in accordance with GAAP. That means that what I did is I set it up in such a manner that it would conform to any Internal Revenue inquiry. And I was able to make a report every year, whether we legally had to or not. If you have less than 10,000 in gross income, you do not have to. But it's a helpful tool that I think every member had a right to. And every person who made a request got the mail to them or hand delivered as they desired. If I am elected, I'm more than glad to work under anyone who is elected as treasurer or who is currently treasurer to provide this type of a service. And it goes without saying that where there are some folks who might be opportunistic to try to make a buck, that's not something I need to do, nor would I do. But that's what really happened. I'm not going to become the next Supreme Court Justice of the state of California, nor am I being considered for the US Supreme Court. But the person who didn't understand what ignorant meant and thought it was in essence a curse, which it is not, As an educator, Nicole can tell you, there are some people who are more limited than others. If you remember Forrest Gump, he had such a low IQ, they had to explain to his mother what it meant to be retarded. That's unfortunate. I feel sorry for the person. I'm putting my hand to my chest. But that's no reason to put out something like that. If I did something wrong while I was in office, say so. But
No, we have.
that's something, that's it. I think I've taken my time.
Thank you so much, Donald. I appreciate that. Next up, we also have a first-time candidate to the board, shall I say. And thank you for succumbing to my peer pressure. Mike.
Mike, you're muted. You're still muted, Mike. There you go. Whoops.
Let's,
Sorry, I'm usually technically deaf. That was a tough act to follow. My name is Mike Kolker. I love living at Park La Brea. My wife and I have lived here for a year and a half now, but we have seen some major issues with management that we hope through the Residents Association that I can have an effect to change. One major issue that we've heard about recently is Park La Brea is one of its biggest people that handle things for Park La Brea is RealPage. And RealPage is involved with two major lawsuits that has to do with how they broke antitrust laws to inflate rents, which has a massive impact on the 4,200 tenants here and the 10,000 residents. I pay, and my wife and I pay over $4,000 a month rent, an astounding amount of rent. And so what's happened is the California State Attorney General's office, important office, as well as 7 other states and the Department of Justice have filed a lawsuit against RealPage, Park La Brea's vendor, main vendor, and they've basically taken this thing of price fixing coming from breaking antitrust laws to court. And I think it's really important, as representing over 4,000 apartments and 10,000 residents, that the Residents Association approach the Attorney General's office and see if we can get involved in any way to make it so we can lower our rents and solve this problem. RealPage has also been hit with a mammoth class action lawsuit nationwide by tons of tenants all over the country. And Park La Brea happens to be one of the I think it's the largest apartment complex in the Western United States with all these people. And it's crazy if we can do it without incurring legal costs. If we could do it in some way so it's working, if we could do it so that it looks like it might lower all our rents, I think it's worth at least looking at this lawsuit and seeing if we'd be a part of it, because we'd probably be the largest organization in that lawsuit overnight. In addition, recently, Park La Brea has forced tenants to accept releases that are overwhelmingly in favor of their 7 contractors simply to change the way we pay rent online. And my wife and I wasted an astounding amount of time on that, going to the main office, and we saw many, many people over 4 visits screaming at Park La Brea over this very issue. A little bit quickly about me. I have an MBA, Master's in Business Administration from Rutgers University. I was a neighborhood activist on the east side of LA, and elected member of the area's Community Redevelopment Agency Project Area Committee. I successfully fought to stop the CRA from using government funding to gentrify that part of the city. I got that very committee and 2 other area neighborhood councils to vote overwhelmingly to encourage the governor to get rid of the very CRA that we were a part of. And the governor ended up getting rid of all of them. So it was pretty amazing. But the bottom line is I love living here. I love this board. I think you guys are amazing. And I hope I can be at least a small part of it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. And secret shout out for Rutgers. Okay, next up is Toby.
Toby, you're muted.
Whoops, sorry about that. Hi, everyone. That was amazing. I'm so impressed with all the members and I mean, everyone that spoke so far and all the different areas that everyone's going to address. I think they're all critical and they're all different. So I really think that it's going to be an amazing year for Park La Brea with everybody so far that's spoken to be on the board. I moved here in 2018 and I joined the board, I think in 2020 or something. And I've been with Shelley on the amenities committee and also the political committee. And it's been great. But I found a new area that I feel like needs to be addressed, especially with all of the stuff going on today with the fires and everything. Park La Brea used to have a lot of services here for seniors. They used to have an activity center. They had daytime movies. They had Jewish family service. They just had a lot. And when COVID hit, none of those services came back. And I'm finding that getting to know a lot of the seniors, that they feel isolated and lonely, and there's not much to do. So I want to form a new committee. And I'm hoping, I think Shelley's going to be on it, and I'm hoping Colonel Harris.
I'll be on it.
Who?
I said I'll be on it.
Oh,
I'm here.
yay. And I'm
I can
hoping
help.
Colonel Harris will be on it because he already knows a lot of the seniors and he's retired, so he has a little bit more time.
I'll be glad to. Thank you.
Yay. Okay, good. It's already a good start. And I've met some people already in the area, and they know both Shelley and Colonel Harris, and adore them. So I want to form like a senior liaison. So, God forbid there's a tragedy and they're alone, and who are they going to call? So if we can have a contact number, and then also to get some of the services back, and possibly some more services. And then, once that gets going, I'm a single mom. I have twins that are 15. I'm also a dietitian. I work with eating disorders and geriatrics. There's no services really here for teens, as far as I know. So I would love to form something for teenagers as well, and possibly even link the seniors and the teenagers together somehow. So, we'll see how that develops. But I really love being on the board, and I hope that you guys vote me in, and that I can make Park La Brea better. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toby. Next up is current board member Henry.
Hello, my name is Henry Mantell. I am a current board member, and I have been a Park La Brea resident since 2021. Oh boy, 4 years now. And I am, what I bring to the table is really that I'm a housing and tenants rights attorney. I have worked as an eviction defense attorney, and I currently work as a slum housing attorney, suing landlords for slum housing conditions. And so my contribution is mostly in making sure people's rights are respected, making sure the board understands the legality of certain things, and hopefully to advocate for tenants and help make sure that their rights are respected, and not just members of the Residents Association, but all residents at Park La Brea. So I am also concerned about membership. I do think we need to be putting out, we're doing more to get more people on board. We have thousands of people here, and I don't think we cracked 200 members of the PLBRA, and I think that should change. And I do think we need to figure out how to appeal to folks and how to get them out. I'm sure everyone else has the same concern, and I'm sure there are plenty of ideas. And I'm looking forward to trying to do that this year and get more people involved and interested and educated. And that just gave me an idea. I should probably do a tenants' rights seminar at some point. That would probably be helpful. So I'll be in touch with everybody about that. But I hope you'll vote for me. And yeah, January 12th, that's this Sunday. And I hope everyone's staying safe and hydrated and wearing a mask when you go outside, because the smoke isn't a joke. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry. Our next candidate is a current board member. This is Walter Marlowe. He is in England, so not being impacted by the fire that he's not here. This was a pre-scheduled travel, but he asked me to share on his behalf. And so I'll read what he says and add a couple things. Walter was born in Brooklyn, New York, and is a retired corporate banker. He lived in Europe for 40 years before returning to the United States, and moved into Park La Brea 5 years ago. He has 2 daughters and 2 grandsons that live in the metro LA area, and he serves on the board for an LA youth charity and volunteers weekly at a food bank in Koreatown. He said, I remain very interested in seeing enhanced security for the complex and working with PLB to continue improvements to the infrastructure and maintenance of apartments. I monitor PLB security on a biweekly basis. So I would just add that Walter's played a critical role with John on our board over this last year, both liaising with management and the police department on security issues, crime reports, crime reporting, safety hazards and risks. And since John is not able to serve on the board because of other personal obligations, I will take a point of privilege to say that Walter's continuance in that role would be really important. So I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying that's been a key role for he and John, and we appreciate everything John has done, and we understand, and we're sorry to see John go. So next up, we have Bob.
Excuse me. Thank you. I'm Bob Shore. I think most of you know me. I've been president of the association since 2021. I've been on the board since 2019. I think I am, in fact, I know I am the only holdover from the quote unquote old board, which was largely replaced in the elections of 2020. I'm certainly the only officer who was able to continue in his position after that turnover. I have devoted my time and intend to continue to devote my time toward making Park La Brea an effective force citywide, so that when management doesn't listen to us because of economic pressure, they listen to us because of political pressure. I would like to think that I have, with the help of my very able colleagues, and I particularly want to give Angela and Nicole a shout out, had some success in that endeavor. I think that Park La Brea's views are now considered at the city level. I think that when we reach out to our elected officials, we get prompt attention, much prompter than we got 4 or 5 years ago. I'd like to think that I've got a little something to do with that. I've also tried to use my platform as president of the Park La Brea Residents Association to educate our residents through my columns. And I did notice a fairly immediate impact. When I started writing my columns, our membership was approximately 60 people. We are now more than twice that. And again, I'd like to think that since the increase pretty much happened in that time frame, I'd like to think that that I deserve a little credit. So to continue doing what I've been doing, I do ask for your vote. Since I did hear my name called out, and since this is an important issue, I need to add what I saw with my own eyes, what I heard with my own ears. It is the reason that I have taken such a strong position with respect to Donald. In January of 2020, we had a board meeting where we were deciding for the first time, actually, to engage and inspect a neutral inspector of elections. Prior to that, a board member, specifically Donald, had been serving as the inspector of elections. We voted to replace Donald as the inspector of elections, and more to the point, the board member earlier referred to moved successfully to take the position that our inspector of elections, rather than Donald, would present the rules of elections to the membership. Donald was enraged by this decision, and I use the word enraged advisedly. He stormed to the door, hurled it open with considerable force, and yelled at the top of his lungs to a board member, "Get out! Get out!" Remember, these are things that I saw with my own eyes and heard with my own ears. He then stormed back to his chair, visibly angry, made physical contact with this board member. And I was concerned. I was sufficiently concerned that I pushed my chair back because I was concerned I would have to physically intervene. Thankfully, that proved not to be necessary. Okay. So when I say that I witnessed conduct that is inappropriate, inconsistent with with membership on this board, I'm not just talking about calling somebody ignorant, which by itself is way over the line as far as I'm concerned. I'm talking about conduct that I considered in the moment potentially physically threatening. Okay. And on top of that, we have the other incident. So at any rate, that is what I saw. I consider these issues so important that if Donald is elected to the board, I'm going to have to seriously reconsider whether I continue to be willing to accept the fiduciary responsibilities of a board member. So if you like what I've been doing and want to be sure that I'm going to keep doing it, please bear that in mind with your vote. I'm
Thank you,
sorry to
Bob.
have to do this, but I think it's necessary.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that so much. Next up, we have Ashley, who I'll take another point of privilege to say congratulations and mazel tov as a brand new mom, just right after Christmas. So all of the world of well wishes to you and Sam. May you sleep and achieve great success as new parents. So I believe Ashley is likely off camera, but she is here. Thank you so much for making time, and I'll turn it over to her.
Yes, thank you so much. And we are definitely in the newborn trenches. She is going to be 2 weeks on Saturday. So brand new. Yes. So we are very excited. And it has just been a wonderful journey to bring a little one to this community and have walks around our beautiful, squares and see all the things that Park La Brea has to offer a growing family. So again, my name is Ashley Tall. I've lived here for about 3 years now, coming up on 3 years, and I do love it here. Like the moment you get through those gates, it truly is kind of like a world away from the city, and I think that's so exciting. I have served in this year as the vice president. Just wanted to really jump in to the deep end and help where I can. My background is in business administration. I have a master's degree in public administration. And my professional life, my day job, is a senior business operations analyst for the Walt Disney Company, primarily in Disney streaming. So all your apps, your Disney Plus, your ESPN, I help make sure those stay up and running for that entertainment. And I think my passion here is to really foster that community. In the year that I've been here, still just getting to know the board and what we want to do and what we want to bring back, but also just helping out where I can, helping out Nicole for like candidate forums or the wellness fairs, or just helping everyone out wherever is needed. I just want to be that team player on the board. And likewise with the kind of being a liaison with management, I would help kind of set up meetings with Aaron and try and get the bigger ticket items that either the board wants to make sure we can address in our meetings, or things that I see on our Park La Brea community Facebook group, or on the Facebook group that I should say, addressed. Because sometimes there's so many emails coming through, I just want to make sure that someone is getting some face time to bring it back. Whether, the answer is what we want or not, I just want to make sure that we are getting it straight from the source and bringing it back to our residents. So I think overall, I just really want to continue serving, continue being a team player with everyone's support and bringing resources back, bringing more events back. As others have said, like Toby and Shelly and others, bringing other things that bring our community together, from our senior citizens to our teens to different cultural aspects, just making this place really a safe hub for everyone. So that's a little bit about me. Please vote for me in this election on Sunday, and I hope we can all work together in the new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley, and Godspeed on getting some sleep tonight. Okay, next up is Dan. Last but not least, another
Hi.
new candidate to the board, and I'll turn the floor over to you.
You hear me okay? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my wife and I have been living in Park La Brea for 25 years, and we really love it here. We make full use of the pool and the gym. We enjoy LACMA and the Academy Museum quite a bit. I walk around that block 2 miles every day almost. Most of my career, the beginning of my career, I produced TV commercials, and I won a couple of Clios doing that in New York. And out here, I became an instructor primarily of software. And I write software instructions, how to use it. I make videos. Primarily, I worked at a CGI company for 12 years and wrote their documentation for their proprietary software and taught students for them in India and in Vancouver. And I've also taught at Cal State, NYU, UCLA Extension in particular, 204 sections I've taught there. Art Institute LA, Middlesex Community College, and others, Middlesex, Massachusetts. And the Art Institute of LA gave me a certificate for unbridled enthusiasm. So I think that speaks volumes about what I'm about. You know, I get enthused about things. I think I bring energy to things. Also, I've been attending these meetings for a long time, and I often contribute. I ask questions, and I think that's valuable to the board. I think I've, fit in well. And in 2024, I was in 3 ocean races, including from Alcatraz to Fisherman's Wharf and 2 miles peer-to-peer race and a 1.2 in Redondo. So I feel very proud of that. And you can see me in the picture. I've got this Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, which people will kill for. So I have to be careful. Anyway, some people think I have a good sense of humor too, which I don't know about them. But yeah, I think I do well speaking with people and making suggestions. One concern I have is about we don't have any Korean or Indian people involved, and there sure are a lot of them living here, and I don't think they're that eager to get involved. I don't know why. Maybe it's the language, and that might really help. If we could get them involved. The Korean community, as I understand it, is very they're very private and they don't like getting involved in outside things. That's just what I've heard. I don't know for sure. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for listening. Hope you vote for me. I'll give you a lollipop.
Dan, closing with the bribery. Okay, beat that, everybody else. I'll put the slides back up in a minute. We are going to pause here for some Q&A. And Bhuvana, I see you in the chat. I see you, and I just got your email the other day. We will circle back to you for sure. Thank you so much for putting your name forward. We would love to work with you. I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see who might be raising their hand for Q&A. Couple points. As I said at the beginning, this is not a debate. We're not getting into a back and forth. But if anybody has a targeted or specific question that they would like to ask, we welcome you to please raise your hand. You can come off mute. You can ask your question, and the candidate that you are directing can respond. We're not going to get into back and forths. Of course, we want to stay on topic and focused on Park La Brea. Does anybody have a question for a candidate? We've lulled everybody into compliant voting. Great.
Well, I do want to mention.
Please go ahead, Dan.
That's my wife, Randy Cam, and we've been married 40 years.
She's also a committee member on the wellness fair.
That's right. Yeah, you worked with her. Great. Okay.
Any questions? Anybody? Okay, so I do want to share my screen for 1 more minute. So, couple things about Sunday for our candidates. If your neighbors are PLBRA members, ask them to vote. Hand them a proxy form. Help make quorum happen, right? Get out your own vote. If somebody is not a member of PLBRA, unfortunately, they cannot vote. So we have 141 voters, and we'll be working to make quorum. The second way to vote, if you cannot attend on Sunday, is by filling out your proxy form and sending it with a candidate, a board member, a fellow member, or even a neighbor that can come drop it off, to us at the election table. But we will be collecting proxies. You do have to assign a proxy. I talked about this in my email. So if you need support with that, please email me at secretary@plbra.org. And we can chat more about that. You will fill out your proxy ballot, sign it, close your envelope, seal it, sign it, and turn that in. So we will be collecting proxies and ballots on Sunday at our annual meeting. The annual meeting is not a traditional meeting. It has a very specific agenda. We'll go over the election rules and guidelines with Bruce. We will hopefully have Katie Yaroslawski, our city councilwoman, as our guest speaker, or perhaps someone from her staff to do a Q&A with members. We will have an annual report and our annual treasury report, and we will vote. That is all that is on the agenda for Sunday. We are planning our first general meeting of January 2025 for January 16th via Zoom. And that will be a normal meeting where we will go over all of our various topics, talk about the gym, talk about all of security, the things we usually talk about RealPage. And if we have met quorum and if we have election results, then we will announce the outcome of the election. We will welcome those officers. They will become official, and we will appoint board officers. If we do not have quorum met by January 16th, we will not be able to move forward with the new board, and the current board will stay in place until we meet quorum. And we do have a Hail Mary option 3 avenue. We used it very successfully last year with Bruce to collect ballots from registered voters who did not vote on January 12th. But my primary message to everybody is, let's meet quorum Sunday. We can do this, right? We can do this. We can meet quorum. So spread the word. Get those proxies out there. It's in the email that I sent you. And together we can make that happen for sure. We want to make sure that everybody understands where and how to vote. Like I said, 2 p.m. Email me if you have any questions or doubts. If you're not sure if you're a voter, please email me. That's secretary@plbra.org. I will confirm definitively for you if you are an official member or not. But the best way to know is that if you are a voter, you've been getting my voter-specific emails over the last month. With that, the last thing I just want to close with is that, as I said, I'm sharing this resource from FEMA and California Office of Emergency Preparedness. Right now, I'm putting it in the chat. We will share it out as well on our socials. And my school district team is currently gathering a menu of supports and resources. We hope to have that out tomorrow afternoon. So I will also work with Angela and Ashley, who manage our email distribution and our socials, to make sure that that resource list, just because I can, gets out to everybody as well, right? So we want to share as much as we can. We are still in a red flag zone. Anything can happen, over the next few days. The winds are not going to die down until hopefully tomorrow night. We will see a wind spike again next week. So stay safe, stay diligent, have your go bag ready. And the last thing I would share with everybody is that if you want to know the most current information on where the fires are, who is in an evacuation zone, who is in a watch zone, who's in a red flag zone, this last link that I'm providing to you, watchduty.org, is the website. It's what the fire departments use. And you can zoom way in and see right down to the line on who is in a watch zone or an evac zone or a fire zone. So with that, I will assume that we will see everybody Sunday together and safe, and work to continue to make Park La Brea a better place and move us all forward.
Nicole, before you end this, I saw Dan had his hand up a moment ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the caliber of all the people running, very much so. And I'm glad to see Buvana is here. She has a garden plot next to mine. And so it's great to see her, and she's a delightful person. So I'd welcome her participation. That's it. Thank you. Oh, how much is quorum?
71,
Say it again, Bob.
71 out of
71.
141.
Okay.
So we got to get to work. Shelley.
Hey, Nicole, I just wanted to ask if you could just elaborate a little bit more in case there are folks here that aren't going to come if we don't meet quorum, what that timeline and what happened would look like, just so we can
Yeah,
spread
sure.
the word.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to give people an out, so I'm hedging
I
a
get
little
it.
bit, right? Like Sunday is the mission. But if we do not meet quorum, our bylaws allow Bruce to directly collect a one-to-one ballot from registered voters electronically. So, for example, what happened last year? I personally contacted every registered voter who did not vote or submit a proxy and gave them Bruce's email address and asked them directly to please email their votes directly to Bruce. Those don't come back to me, right? They go straight to Bruce. And then Bruce collected those, confirmed that the email address matched the email address on our roster, and tallied those votes in the queue until we met quorum and reported back out once we did meet quorum. Is there a timeline on when to meet quorum? I mean, I guess in theory, no, but we want a successful election. We want a timely and urgent election. And it didn't take us very long last year. I'm sorry, I don't have like the exact date in mind.
As I recall, we were done. I think we gave people about 10 days or so after
Yeah,
the
it was pretty
after the
quick.
meeting.
It was pretty quick. So if we don't meet quorum for January 16th, for example, we'll have a general meeting where we won't do officers and all the other things, right? We'll just kind of do some of our other business. And then we would push to meet quorum and then do those officer appointments and swear in the new board and release our old board members at the February meeting.
Yeah, actually, I
That would
think
be
I think the bylaws require us to elect officers at the January meeting. So I think one way or another, it's going to have to happen. I think that what we would probably do is what we did last year, which is appoint
Interim.
give interim appointments.
Yeah. But regardless, we would redo that when we have the official finished board, Shelley, to answer your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike,
How many people can we vote for?
you can vote for
All of them.
all of them, none of them, or some of them.
Okay.
Because we're allowed to have 30 or something like that, and we have 12 candidates. So it's really dealer's choice, Mike, on how many you would like to vote for.
And by the way, Nicole, as usual, you did an amazing job tonight. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm on like 2 hours of sleep in a ponytail and I don't feel it, but I appreciate that. And we'll keep pushing forward to keep our community safe. So thank you. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right, good night. Good night, everybody. Stay safe.